Engineering has limits. At least, that is what people said every single time one of these machines was proposed. 10 aircraft that ignored every reasonable boundary ever set for what a flying machine could be. Some still rule the skies. Others exist only in museums and memory. All of them changed aviation forever. Starting at number 10 with a cargo plane so bizarrely shaped that first-time witnesses genuinely could not believe it was real. Aircraft 10, Airbus Beluga XL. The Airbus Beluga XL did not earn its nickname accidentally. The swollen upper fuselage that gave it the appearance of a beluga whale was not a design quirk or an aesthetic choice. It was the only logical solution to a very specific logistical problem. Airbus manufactures aircraft components across multiple factories in multiple countries. Wings built in Britain, fuselage sections built in Germany and France. All of it needs to travel to a single final assembly location without being disassembled into pieces small enough to fit a standard cargo hold. The Beluga XL was built specifically to swallow entire wings of aircraft like the A380 hull. At 63 meters long, with a 60-meter wingspan, it hauls 227 tons at maximum takeoff and keeps the entire Airbus production chain moving. It is not glamorous. It is not fast. But without it, European aerospace manufacturing would grind to a halt. Currently still in active service, the Beluga XL is proof that the most important aircraft are sometimes the ones nobody talks about. Aircraft 9, Boeing 777-300ER. The Boeing 777-300ER is not the largest aircraft ever built, but it might be the most consequential for global travel. Stretching nearly 74 meters long and weighing 351 tons at takeoff, it became the backbone of long-haul international aviation after its introduction in 2003. The GE90 turbofan engines powering it remain among the largest and most powerful jet engines ever put into production. Each one produces over 110,000 pounds of thrust. To put that in perspective, the combined thrust of both engines exceeds the total power output of several earlier generation aircraft. The 777-300ER carries up to 396 passengers across continents non-stop with a fuel efficiency that made it commercially irresistible to airlines worldwide. Decades after its debut, it remains one of the most trusted aircraft for routes across the Pacific, the Atlantic, and beyond. A Soviet-era cargo monster with a nose that flips open entirely and a loading system that was decades ahead of its time. Aircraft 8, Antonov AN-124 Ruslan. When the Soviet Union needed to move things that no other aircraft on Earth could accommodate, the Antonov AN-124 Ruslan was the answer. First flown in 1982, this Ukrainian-built heavy lifter measures 69 meters long with a wingspan of 73 meters and lifts off at a staggering 405 tons maximum takeoff weight. The nose of the AN-124 opens completely upward on a hinge, allowing vehicles, tanks, helicopters, and industrial equipment to be driven directly into the cargo hold without cranes or complicated loading procedures. That front loading ramp combined with a rear loading door means cargo can enter from one end and exit from the other, cutting turnaround time dramatically in military and disaster relief operations. More than 40 years after its first flight, the AN-124 continues operating globally with both military and civilian operators. Very few aircraft in history have remained this operationally relevant this far past their original design era. The United States Air Force's strategic backbone. An aircraft that can carry an entire armored vehicle through the front door and deliver it directly into a combat zone. Aircraft 7 Lockheed C5M Super Galaxy. The Lockheed C5M Super Galaxy has been doing something that sounds impossible since the late 1960s. It drives military hardware in one end, flies it across oceans, and drives it out the other end at the destination. front and rear loading ramps mean the cargo hold functions as a drive-through tunnel for armored vehicles, helicopters, and heavy machinery. At 75 meters long, with a wingspan of 68 meters and a maximum takeoff weight of 381 tons, it carries up to 135 tons per flight. The upgraded C5M variant extended the operational life of this platform significantly, keeping it relevant in an era of more modern transport aircraft. For the United States military, the Super Galaxy is not a showpiece. It is the physical mechanism by which American strategic airlift power actually functions on a global scale. The Queen of the Skies in her final and most powerful form. A 76-meter giant carrying the most iconic silhouette in commercial aviation history. Aircraft 6, Boeing 778. The humpback profile of the Boeing 747 became the defining image of mass air travel the moment it entered service in 1970. The 747-8 is the last and largest evolution of that lineage. At 76 meters long, with a maximum takeoff weight of 447 tons, it is the biggest 747 ever built. The passenger version offers more cabin space and better fuel efficiency than any previous variant. The freighter version plays a critical role in global cargo logistics, hauling oversized shipments across continents that would challenge any alternative platform. Newer twin-engine aircraft have steadily taken routes that once belonged exclusively to four-engine jets like the 747. But the 747-8 continues flying with airlines and cargo operators who value its combination of capacity, range, and 5 decades of operational reliability. Few aircraft in history carried as much cultural weight alongside the cargo. The largest passenger aircraft ever built. A double-decker that carries over 800 people and burns 3,000 litres of fuel every single minute during takeoff. Aircraft 5 Airbus A380. The Airbus A380 answered a question the aviation industry had been debating for decades. How many people can you realistically put on a single commercial aircraft? The answer turned out to be over 800 in an all-economy configuration, though most airlines configured it more generously with lounges, bars, and on some carriers, private shower suites in business class. Nearly 73 meters long, 80 meters of wingspan, and 560 tons at maximum takeoff. During the climb out from the runway, it burns through 3,000 liters of fuel per minute. Despite that consumption figure, it remains surprisingly quiet inside the cabin, a result of the sheer scale distributing engine noise across a much larger airframe. Airbus ended production in 2021, but the A380 continues dominating high-density long-haul routes, particularly for Emirates, which operates the largest fleet by a considerable margin. It remains the most ambitious achievement in commercial passenger aviation history. A Soviet machine that was technically neither an aircraft nor a ship. It flew 92 meters long, just meters above the water, and carried enough weaponry to qualify as a warship. Aircraft 4 Caspian Sea Monster. The Lund-class Ekranoplan earned its nickname from American intelligence analysts who spotted it on satellite imagery and had no category to put it in. Officially a ground effect vehicle, it used the compression of air between its massive hull and the water surface to generate lift at speeds and altitudes that conventional aircraft could not match near the surface. 92 meters long, with 8 jet engines mounted on the forward fuselage, it skimmed just a few meters above the Caspian Sea at high speed, flying below radar coverage and beyond the reach of conventional anti-ship defenses. Armed with cruise missiles, it represented a genuinely novel weapons concept during the Cold War. It never entered full production, and only one combat variant was ever completed. Today it sits beached on the Caspian shore, partially preserved, a machine that looked like something from a science fiction film and operated like nothing before or since. Built almost entirely from wood during wartime, flew exactly once, still holds records that stood for decades after that single flight. Aircraft 3 Hughes H-4 Hercules. Howard Hughes built the H-4 Hercules under wartime material restrictions that prohibited large-scale use of aluminum in non-combat applications. His solution was to construct the largest flying boat ever attempted almost entirely from laminated birchwood. The result was 66 meters long with a wingspan of 98 meters, the largest wingspan of any aircraft on Earth for several decades after its construction. It was designed to carry troops and equipment across the Atlantic at a time when German submarines were devastating Allied shipping convoys. The war ended before the aircraft was ready. On November 2, 1947, Hughes personally piloted the H-4 on its one and only flight. It flew approximately 1 mile at a height of 21 meters for roughly 1 minute before landing. That single flight was enough to prove it worked. The Spruce Goose, a nickname Hughes despised, is preserved today at the Evergreen Aviation Museum in McMinnville, Oregon, where its wingspan still draws visitors to a complete stop. The largest wingspan ever constructed on any aircraft in history. A twin fuselage giant built not to transport passengers, but to launch rockets directly into orbit from the sky. Aircraft 2 Stratolaunch Roc. The Stratolaunch Roc looks like an engineering mistake until you understand what it was designed to do. 2 complete fuselages connected by a single massive wing spanning 117 meters, the widest wingspan ever built on any aircraft in the history of aviation. 6 Boeing 747 engines. 28 wheels for landing gear. Maximum takeoff weight of 590 tons. The entire purpose of this configuration is to carry a rocket payload under the central wing section, climb to high altitude where the atmosphere is thinner and fuel requirements for a launch are dramatically reduced, and release the rocket at altitude rather than fighting through the densest layers of atmosphere from a ground launch pad. First flown in 2019, the Roc continues active test operations, representing a fundamentally different approach to getting payloads into orbit. It is not competing with conventional aircraft. It is competing with conventional rocket launches and making a compelling case that the sky is a better starting point than the ground. The largest aircraft ever built by any measure that matters. Destroyed in a single day of war in 2022 after 33 years of carrying loads nothing else on Earth could touch. Aircraft 1 Antonov AN-225 Mriya. The Antonov AN-225 Mriya existed in a category entirely its own. 84 meters long, 88-meter wingspan, 6 engines, 32 wheels, 640 tons maximum takeoff weight. It was originally built in the Soviet Union to transport the Buran space shuttle on its back, a task that required an aircraft larger than anything previously conceived. After the Soviet space program ended, the AN-225 transitioned to civilian heavy cargo operations and became the global solution for shipments that no other aircraft could physically accommodate. Entire power plant generators, locomotives, wind turbine components, other aircraft. The AN-225 carried loads that engineers working on conventional cargo solutions simply had to walk away from. On February 27, 2022, Russian forces destroyed the aircraft at Hostomel Airport near Kyiv during the opening days of the invasion of Ukraine. The only AN-225 ever completed was gone in hours. A second airframe that had been under construction for decades remains incomplete. Whether it will ever fly is uncertain. What is certain is that nothing currently flying or currently planned comes close to what the Mriya was. It was not the largest aircraft in a category. It was a category by itself. 10 different answers to the question of how far human engineering can actually be pushed when the goal is to get the biggest possible machine off the ground. From wooden flying boats that flew once to Soviet cargo giants that changed global logistics forever. Every aircraft on this list exists because someone refused to accept the limits everyone else had agreed to. Drop a comment telling us which one you think deserves to fly again. Subscribe because the machines shaping the future of aviation are even more extraordinary than the ones on this list.